What's going on there, friends and neighbors? I just got done watching the brand new episode of The X-Files as titled The Lost Art of Forehead, and definitely one of the weirder X-Files episodes. So The Lost Art of Forehead really revolves around this crazy dude that's visiting Mulder and Scully, asking for proof that he's real, and saying all these really strange things. The episode is absolutely drenched in the Mandela effect. Remembering the author's name being spelt a different way, an episode of your favorite TV show not actually existing, the brand of Jell-O that you loved as a kid. This episode really tackles it all. And even though this is essentially just a throwaway episode for the season, I honestly really enjoyed it. It's just really weird how the episode found most of its drama and most of its conflict in flashbacks to things that apparently happened. I mean, it wasn't all too suspenseful. The episode started out pretty funny, and it kind of continued on with a funny tinge throughout. Plus, when an episode starts out with one of the main characters dressed up as Bigfoot, claiming that he just got done squatching, I think you kind of set yourself up for some hilarity. Now, unfortunately, I can't really talk about too much with the episode without spoiling something, so this is mainly going to be a spoiler-filled episode. But before I get into the spoilers, I'm going to give my rating for this episode. I'm going to give The Lost Art of Forehead a 4 out of 5. It was weird, it was different, it still managed to poke and prod you with some serious tones in there, but at the same time, it was a funny episode. I really wouldn't know how to categorize it when it comes to genre. It was just one of those X-Files episodes. Kind of funny, not really all too serious, but still makes you think. But anyway, let's start with this spoiler talk. So I took notes as the episode was going on, and I've highlighted a bunch of my favorites. So, the opening. Can we talk about how cheesy awesome the opening was? The black and white, the really bad alien makeup, that just killed me. And quite possibly my favorite moment of the episode is when Mulder is recollecting the time he saw his favorite episode of The Twilight Zone, and it was literally David Duchovny's head CGI'd onto a small child's body. That was truly hilarious. I busted a gut laughing to that. So as I said earlier in the video, this episode has a lot to do with the Mandela effect, but they even managed to twist that around. This crazy dude, who we find out is named Reggie, actually calls it the Mengele effect. And then he starts spouting and weaving this story about this Dr. Thaddeus They, who apparently has the power to alter people's memories and such. So it cuts to commercial, but when it comes back, the intro is played again, but the music is all a cappella, and Mitch Pileggi's ID is replaced with Reggie's ID. And then they go through this retrospective from a whole bunch of really awesome X-Files episodes where Reggie is digitally imposed into them. And I was crying. That was just so freaking funny. And the commentary that Reggie had on all the situations that Mulder and Scully were going through, oh my god, I would watch that show. So shortly after that, Dr. They's henchmen start chasing after Reggie, and then two other dudes start chasing after Mulder and Scully until they pull out their badges saying FBI. The guys that were chasing them pull out their FBI badges. They have civil banter and everything, and then they kind of take a crack at Mulder, inadvertently calling him fat and washed up. And this is another one of my favorite moments from the episode. They start walking away, and Mulder is visibly upset over their comments, and he yells at them, "I'm Fox Mulder! I'm Fox freaking Mulder, you punks!" I don't know why. That just cracked me up. So the last half of the episode gets really wacky. Dr. They contacts Mulder, brings him to this freaky little park with all these weird statues, just to tell him, "You're dead." And then he kind of laughs it off and he says, "I worded that wrong. Your time has passed." And that whole altercation just left me scratching my head. Is Mulder going to die at the end of this season? Oh no. After Mulder returns, he meets up with Reggie, and their conversation is cut short by, of course, Scully being the badass that she is, and she reveals Reggie's full name and his full history. His full name is Reginald Murgatroyd. What a name. And it turns out all of the crazy things that he was talking about, how he was in the X-Files the entire time, how he started the X-Files, how him and Mulder were originally partners before Mulder and Scully were partners, all turns out to be a part of this very weird fantasy that Reggie had while he was working with the NSA. I forget the name of the company, but he's basically listening in on phone calls. And you eventually find out that he's been listening to Mulder and Scully's phone calls for quite some time. So that's where the fantasy began to develop. So then it turns out out these gray-suited gentlemen aren't actually Dr. Day's henchmen, they are just the mental ward workers coming to collect Reggie. Right before he gets wheeled away, Mulder asks him what happened in our last case. Mulder, Scully, and Reggie are in this car. Scully's driving all goofy. Mulder's acting all goofy. They happen upon a crash site of a satellite, and then a UFO lands. This alien is absolutely ridiculous. He looks like the alien from the Flintstones. I forget his name. And then he gets on this balancing hoverboard, you know, the one with the two wheels. And as he's coming over, I noticed that the sound effects from the Jetsons, which was just hilarious. And then the alien does this Donald Trump monologue doing this and all of that and everything that Donald Trump does. And this Donald Trump monologue gets really twisted. Imagine if Donald Trump was the president of the galaxy and he just hated human beings. So the alien says that they've constructed an electromagnetic wall around the Earth and the only other planet that they can visit is Uranus. And he's just dissing human beings. It's really funny. He gives Mulder the answers to everything and then eventually walks away. And as he's walking up the stairs to get back into his spaceship, he says bing, 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 bong, 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 bing. Making fun of the Vine Donald Trump meme of him going bing, bing, bing. And Mulder says one of my favorite lines in the episode. So that's the truth. We're not alone in the universe. Everybody just hates us. Mulder then throws the book on the ground and then he says in a very Tommy Wiseau fashion, "No, it's not true. It can't be." And then he starts flailing on the ground like a child while Scully confesses that she's had feelings for Reggie the entire time. And then of course this just turns out to be a visual key of absurdity that Reggie was telling Mulder and Scully. Clearly none of that would ever happen in an X-Files episode. And Reggie gets taken away. And then Agent Skinner comes out of nowhere looking at the ambulance, looking into the window, and then he looks at Mulder and Scully and says, "Where the hell are they taking Reggie?" Which just makes this episode even more confusing. So Skinner knows Reggie? I didn't miss something, did I? Comment down below if I missed something. I probably did. The episode finally ends with Mulder watching this episode of The Twilight Zone, and it turns out that it wasn't The Twilight Zone, just a really bad knockoff show. Scully has made her favorite Jell-O that was mentioned at the beginning of the episode, just for her to take a scoop, put it down, and say she wants to remember how it was. How it all was. And then the episode ends. Okay, that was a lot of spoilers, and I apologize for that. Yet again, this was a really, really weird episode, and I'm pretty sure I missed out on a lot of things in this episode when it comes to Easter eggs, when it comes to references. It was just all over the place. But despite it being all over the place and feeling a little directionless at some point, I really enjoyed it. The only reason this episode gets a 4 out of 5 from me instead of a 5 out of 5 is just simply because I probably missed so much in this episode. I need to see it again. But before I end this video off, let's talk about the preview for the next episode. It looks like it's going to be a part of the main story of this season, and it looks like we're getting our creature feature. The creature that's going to appear in the next episode is apparently an alien-human hybrid gone wrong. And there we go, that's what I needed. But anyway, what did you think of this episode? Did you think it was a little too hard to follow? Did it kind of feel like an uninteresting throwaway episode? Or did you just have a whole bunch of fun with it? If I missed any of the references or Easter eggs, please comment below and let me know. And that is pretty much that. I will be back next Wednesday with another X-Files episode review. Hopefully there will be a lot less spoiler talk with the next one. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, good day. And remember, I'm Fox Mulder! I'm Fox freaking Mulder, you punks!